The U.S. government shut down at midnight, September the 30th, 2025. October 1st, the next day, FAFSA is supposed to open. Will it open? Did it open? Hi, I'm Adriana Zoder. Welcome to my channel. I would like to tell you my experience on filing FAFSA during a government shutdown in the year of our Lord 2025. I was ready to file FAFSA since July. That's when I scheduled my fall semester for my homeschool. I asked my son, my senior this year, to prepare his own FAFSA profile. It's a very simple, straightforward process. We also built a CSS profile. I'll go into all that later. What is CSS? What is FAFSA? We were ready. We had all the paperwork. July, August, we gathered up all our financials. We put our accountant on notice. She has children who have already graduated from high school, applied to college, so she was very familiar with the process. She said, "No problem. I'll help you. I'll walk you through it. I'll help you with your own financials." And let me tell you, FAFSA has connected your social security number to your IRS file. So it's not going to be hard at all. 10 minutes max. That was good to hear. However, I don't believe anything people say anymore because from year to year, government agencies, colleges, processes change, right? The only constant is change. So what I did was I prepared in July. I've put all my deadlines in my calendar. I knew October 1st was the day when FAFSA would open. So if you're familiar at all with the college application process in the United States, you know you need federal funds to go to college if you want some funds. And no college, no university will look at your child and decide on how much money to give your child until they've seen the FAFSA application. So it's like taxes, you file the FAFSA. So it's the free application for federal student loan, FAFSA. I hear a lot of people pronouncing it FAFSA. It's not FAFSA, it's FAFSA. But I understand some people have a hard time pronouncing things. But in case you're confused because you've heard FAFSA somewhere else, that's a mistake. It is FAFSA, right? Federal application, a free application for a federal student funds. And I just messed it up myself. Free application for federal student aid. There you go. FAFSA, FAFSA. Now, what is CSS? CSS is administered by the College Board, which is a private entity. They handle the SAT and a few other tests like the GRE. And they will have a lot of things on their website. But if you scroll around, if you look in the menu, there will be a CSS area. That stands for College Scholarship Service. What they do is they put you in touch with non-federal aid, non-federal funds, money for your child. And a lot of elite colleges, definitely the Ivy League schools, they will require you to file both FAFSA and CSS. So what do I mean by elite colleges? Duke University, Rice University, Vanderbilt University, places like that. They will say, we want to see your FAFSA and we want you to fill out your CSS. I didn't know what to expect. I asked people, they didn't even know about CSS. A lot of people know about FAFSA. Let me tell you something. I was on the phone on a Zoom call. I was on a Zoom call with an admissions counselor from a state university, which shall remain nameless. And we were having a great conversation. She was walking me through their procedures and all the steps. I was taking notes. And then I said something about, you guys don't require CSS, just FAFSA, correct? And she said, what is CSS? Admissions counselor with a few years of experience at a prominent state university. I almost fell off my chair. But I tried to act professional, like, oh, it's this thing that, Vanderbilt is asking for, Rice is asking for. Oh, no, we don't ask for that. I actually had to tell her what it is. Anyhow, so don't feel bad if you've never heard the name CSS. The government shut down September the 30th. Now it's October 1st. I don't even know if it's going to open. If FAFSA, the federal website, is going to work. Imagine you're a FAFSA employee. You are essential. So you go to work, you enter your FAFSA building, your federal building, you sit at your computer, you turn your monitor on, and you start receiving applications. People start filing, right? People start filing. You opened up the software, the software turned on, and people start turning things in. Like me, people that were prepared, that have, several universities that need to receive this information, and you want to be on the ball. And everybody, if you've heard any advice about FAFSA, it's file early, file early, file early. And the other piece of advice is October 1st, October 1st, October 1st. So we were ready. My son and I were sitting there with our financials. Our accountant was only a phone call away. She was ready to help. It was smooth. There was nothing big about it. It was smooth. He had to initiate it. He had to send me a code as the other person that was part of it. I got the code. I activated my situation with the screens that I had to walk through. We gave them our social security numbers. They connected to the IRS. You have to give them permission for the IRS to access your information and for the FAFSA to talk to the IRS and all that. And then 10 minutes, it was done. We could not believe how easy it was. We did not have to call our accountant, like she promised that it would be easy. And this change happened 2 years ago. FAFSA used to be a nightmare. And now, because they connected to the IRS, there are no more mistakes. You give them the right social security number, and they extract all that information for themselves. Now, we started on CSS as hopefuls. We thought it was going to be just as easy. It was not. It was a nightmare. It is still a nightmare. What FAFSA used to be before, CSS continues to be. They want to know so many things, so many confusing things. I'm sitting there with this amazing package of financials that our accountant prepared, and I'm thinking, yeah, surely I know. And we were able to fill out maybe half of it. What's good is you can save and continue, right? And then you can close it and continue the next day. Because I reached out to our accountant at one point when I realized we really don't know the answer to this question, whatever the question was. And she said, oh, sorry, I'm in church. When I sit in front of my computer, I'll get back with you. We set up an appointment for the next day. I apologized. Beautiful story, how she's attending church now due to current events. And the next day, we got on the phone with her and we walked ourselves through the remaining screens that we could not fill out first. So CSS is only required by about 300 colleges, more than 250 colleges, usually Ivy League schools, elite schools. However, there are exceptions to the rule. Something like Arkansas State University will require CSS. Something like Patrick Henry Community College will require CSS. Last time I checked, they were not part of the Ivy League and they were not exactly elite schools. No offense. But the point is, some of the questions were even hard for the accountant. She was scratching her head thinking, do they mean this or do they mean that? Do they mean this or that? It's incredible. But you know what? It was an amazing learning experience, not just for me, because I have to do this again in 2 years for my daughter, but for my son. For my son, he realizing all the government entities and non-government entities, all the in and outs and all the steps one has to take, and software, he wants to write software. Well, we walked ourselves through some really good software. It was well put together. It was lovely to behold. It was straightforward. It was very clean. Very, very nice experience in terms of user experience. And the other thing I want to tell you is, when you get this done, you will have this amazing relief. Well, at least I did. Let me tell you what happened to me. So I was so relieved. We got to the end of the screen. We got congratulations from the screen that we're done. We received confirmations in our email accounts that it's done. And then I shook my son's hand, like, playfully, like, hey, we did it. We conquered the CSS and FAFSA before. And then this thought came to me that, wait a minute, what did I just do? I just funded the flinging of the fledgling. You know how birds throw out their babies when they're not babies anymore, they're fledglings now, right? And they're not ready to fly, but the mama knows they should be flying. So they just get flung out of the nest. And I just funded it. I just talked to the government, talked to these other government agencies to see how much money they can give my son so he can get out of the house and go to college. And it just kind of hit me. It was all at once, this mixed feeling of nostalgia and relief and triumphant feelings. And at the same time, I thought, wait a minute, he also funded his own flinging of the fledgling, right? He funded his own flinging because he scored in the 99th percentile on the SAT. We chose the SAT, not the ACT. There are many reasons. I've got several videos about it somewhere on my YouTube channel. And he got, number one, he got accepted into all the colleges he applied for. Okay, there's 6 of them. He started out with 12. Now he's down to 6. We decided, let's just go with 6. I remember listening to a podcast from a famous homeschool curriculum provider, and her own children went to school. She's got like 4 of them. And she had the first one apply to umpteen colleges. By the second child, she understood, no, why are we doing this? Just apply to the one you want and maybe a couple of safe colleges, good alternatives, and let's just go. And this is my firstborn. We came up with a list of 12. We dwindled it down to 6. And they all accepted him. They all gave him generous merit scholarships. Probably all of them full ride. It's just a matter of getting the specific amounts. So then we'll know for sure where to go. And because we applied early decision, by December the 15th, we should know, and we should be able to make a decision. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I just funded his flinging out of the nest, the flinging of the fledgling. He just funded it himself by getting a high score. And you're probably asking, how did you teach him that? Well, I taught him for 13 years, if you want to count just the official homeschool years when we were registered, kindergarten through grade 12. Obviously, there are preschool years in there, and those are pivotal. They are so important. The preschool years are amazing. And if you, as a foundation, if you don't have that foundation, it's going to mess you up. However, of course, you can recover, but the brain develops so much in the first 5 years. You want to be very careful what you do during the preschool years. But I digress. What I'm trying to tell you is that during the process of preparing him to go take the SAT, I discovered 2 separate programs. They're both good: prepscholar.com and prepexpert.com. I don't have time right now on this video to get into details about both or either one, but that's what we use. We use them both. If you were to ask me which one I would prefer, I would tell you I have a sample of one, right? I have this one learner who studied with Prep Scholar. He got stuck on a certain pretty high score up in the 90th percentile, above the 90th percentile, but we wanted more. And we went and got Prep Expert, and that just pushed him into the 1500s. So, now we've got Dartmouth College sending us invitations to come visit the campus. And I know that doesn't mean just because you get a card in the mail from the Ivy League, that doesn't mean they want my child. It just means they want their numbers. They probably went to the College Board, got a database of everybody that scored above 1500, send them the information. The point is, he funded his own full ride for college. And I just funded it by helping him to file FAFSA. And here we are, flinging him out of the nest in about 10 months. And it's quite the feeling. It's quite the feeling. I feel very accomplished just because we went through this last hurdle of filing FAFSA during a government shutdown. We filed CSS, which is very difficult, with the accountant on the phone and 2 different sessions, but it's done. It's done, and I'll keep you posted of what happens and next and what we decide, what he decides. Our son ultimately will have to decide. It is his life. By the time December rolls around, when we have to make a decision, he will be 18. And that will be interesting, because how do you force an 18-year-old to do this or that, or go to this college or that college? I prefer a particular college. I know he does. He prefers another one. We'll see what happens. I'll see you in the next video.